Hi children, today we are going to discuss about nutrition in Paramecium. Okay, so Paramecium. So this Paramecium is a unicellular organism. Uni means what? Single. So that means what? Unicellular means it is a single cell organism, children. So this Paramecium is seen in fresh water. Okay, so fresh water mean it is seen in the ditches, ponds, rivers, as well as what, children? Lakes. Okay, and if you see the structure of this word Paramecium, it looks like a slipper. It looks like a sole of a shoe. So that's why, so this Paramecium is called as slipper animalcule. Slipper animalcule, children. Okay, if you draw the structure of this word Paramecium, so it looks like this. See, when you observe this word, children, so it is looking like a what? Slipper. So that's why, because of the shape of the slipper, so that's why it is named after that, children, slipper animalcule. So this is outer what shape of the Paramecium. So this Paramecium is covered by a pellicle, and this pellicle consists of what, children? A cilia. These are the cilia, children, a delicate hair-like structures which are present all over the body of this what? Paramecium. The function of this cilia is, first one is locomotion. So with the help of this what? Cilia, so this Paramecium will move from one place to the another place, children, in the search of what? Food. Okay, so this is what, children? A cilia, which is useful for locomotion. Okay, and not only locomotion, this is cilia. It is useful for locomotion as well as food collection also. Food collection. So how does it collect the food particles? So because of the movement of this cilia in the water, children, it will create the water current. So because of the water current, so what happens is the microscopic particles of plants and animals, okay, generally this Paramecium feeds on microscopic plants and animals, such as like example, such as like algae, okay, algae, diatoms, right, bacteria, etc., children. Okay, so this Paramecium feeds on what? Microscopic plants and animals, such as like algae, diatoms, as well as what, children? Bacteria, and etc. and etc. Okay, so because of the movement of this cilia, and there is a water current, and because of that water current, the small microscopic plants as well as animals, children, will be attracted towards this cilia, and this because of the movement of cilia, so the food particles, what happens is it sweeps into the what, children? Mouth. Okay, so this is a mouth, children. In the middle of this what? Paramecium, there is an opening called as what? Mouth. It is called as what? Mouth, children. So this mouth is called as oral groove. Oral groove, a small depression in the middle of the Paramecium. So this is called as what? Oral groove. So this cilia, because of the movement of the cilia, so these food particles, so food particle mean, so microscopic plants as well as animals, this cilia will sweeps these food particles into the what, children? Mouth. Okay, and this mouth opens into a esophagus like structure, children. This is called as gullet. Okay, the food microscopic particles will be what, children? Gathered here. Okay, what happens after reaching here, we will discuss it later. Let us see the structure here. Okay, so cilia, and the inside completely it is called as cytoplasm, children. So there is a nucleus also. In the Paramecium, two nucleus are seen, children. One is bigger in size, okay, one is bean shaped, it's a bigger in size, children. So this is called as macronucleus. Macro means big, macronucleus. Okay, and another one, it is very small, children. This is called as what, children? Micronucleus. So this macronucleus, it is useful for the vegetative functions, children. That's why it is called as vegetative nucleus. Okay, macronucleus is called as vegetative nucleus. So why it is called as a vegetative nucleus? Because it will perform the vegetative functions. So what are vegetative functions? Except the reproduction process, all the other what functions are carried out and controlled by this nucleus. That's why it is called as vegetative nucleus. It is big in size. That's why it is called as macronucleus. And next come to the small one. It is a small nucleus. It is called as micronucleus. And this micronucleus in the paramecium is responsible for what, children? Reproduction process. Okay, it is useful for reproduction process. Got the point? Yes. And one more thing, children, there is another structure called as contractile vacuole. There is contractile vacuole in the anterior side as well as what, children? Posterior side. This is called as anterior side and this is called as posterior side, children. And to these contractile vacuoles, there are certain canals, children. They are called as radiating canals. They are called as what? Radiating canals. So this is radiating canals, and this one is what, children? Contractile vacuole, right? And here also the same thing. So radiating canals are also seen in the posterior what? Contractile vacuoles. The number of these radiating canals are different in number. In some of the species there are some few, and in some of the species there are many, children. Okay, and this ectoplasm and endoplasm, as you know, inside the endoplasm there are some certain what, children? There are certain cell organelles are present inside, such as like Golgi apparatus or mitochondria or some other cell organelles are present in the endoplasm, children. Okay, and now let us see how the nutrition takes place here. So already the nutrition, what kind of nutrition takes place in the paramecium? So in paramecium, children, Holozoic nutrition is seen, children. Holozoic, that means what? The food is in solid particle. That solid particle enters into the body and that gets digested because of the enzyme. So such type of nutrition we call it as a Holozoic nutrition. So even in amoeba we have seen that Holozoic nutrition, and even in our what, children? Body also, I mean human body and human nutrition is also Holozoic nutrition, children. Okay, and there is one more what, children? Part here in this. So in the posterior side, children, that is called as anal pore. It is called as what? Anal pore. It is also called as cytopygy. Isn't it? It is also called as what, children? Cytopygy. So as you know that it performs what, children? Holozoic nutrition, children. There are 5 stages in this Holozoic nutrition in paramecium. So what is that first one? It is what? Ingestion. Okay, we have already studied in nutrition in amoeba also. The steps are similar. Now, steps are similar in all the Holozoic nutrition organisms, children. So first one is ingestion. So already we have discussed when I told about this what, children? A cilia. So this cilia will be what, children? Moves. Okay, they will move. The cilia are the delicate structure. They creates the water currents and try to gather the what, children? Microscopic plants as well as animals such as algae, diatoms and bacteria. Okay, so let me draw it here so that it will be clear to understand. Okay, act, and this will cilia will sweep this what children bacteria or some other microscopic particles into the what children mouth or oral groove. So oral groove is a small depression children, so it will reach us here, and as they are the microscopic particles children, some of the food will be collected in a esophagus like part children. It is called as gullet. It is called as gullet. When the food, when the small particles are moved like a some mass, they form like a mass children, that mass will form into a what children? Food vacuole. It forms into a food vacuole. This is what children? A food vacuole. Food vacuole. This stage we call it as what children? Ingestion. Ingestion means what? Taking enough food. So how the food was taken inside the oral groove is with the help of what? Cilia. It created a water current, and with the help of water currents, so it has collected the food particle, and food particle enters into the oral groove children, and when the microscopic particles are gathered and formed like a mass, and it forms into a food vacuole. Then what happens to this food vacuole? So this food vacuole must what children? Digest, right? The second one is what? The second stage of this nutrition is what? Digestion. It is what children? Digestion. So how does it gets digested? So this food vacuole children, it will move in the cytoplasm children, and because of the action of what? Enzymes. Because of the action of what children? Enzymes, which are secreted by the lysosomes children. So they act on this food vacuole, and the food vacuole what children? Gets digested. The food in the food vacuole gets what children? Digested. So as it is moving in the cytoplasm children, so these food particles, this food vacuole will be shrinks. So as the digested particle what children? Increases, then what happens? The remaining material will be less. So this vacuole will what happens children? It will shrink. It will what children? Comes closer. It will contract. So as it moves to the cytoplasm, the size of this what children? Vacuole becomes smaller, and what children? Smaller. And this is called as digestion. Digestion is seen because of the action of what? Enzymes. And next, the third one is what children? Absorption. So when the food vacuole gets what children? Digested, the digested food particles will be absorbed by the cytoplasm, isn't it? It spreads in all the directions children. By the process of diffusion, it will spreads throughout the cytoplasm children. So the third stage is absorption. By the process of diffusion process, so these digested food particles will be completely spreading into the cytoplasm. And next, fourth one is assimilation. Assimilation. What is assimilation children? Assimilation is what? The utilization of the digested food particles, we call it as what? Assimilation. Right? So what? How does it get used up, or how does it utilized? So what happens is children, so when it gets oxidized by the when the digested food particle gets oxidized, then what happens is it releases the energy, and that energy will be utilized by the paramecium children, so to carry out the activities. Right? So that is called as what children? Assimilation. And next, fifth one is what children? The last one is egestion. Egestion. So egestion is the fifth stage in this Holozoic nutrition, children. So the food gets what completely digested, and there are certain what children undigested food particles also, which this food vacuole will be carried out. So slowly the size of the food vacuole, it becomes smaller and smaller, as I said that. So when the food in the food vacuole gets digested, children, the undigested food will be what children in less quantity. Okay, so the food vacuole size will be what children shrinks, and that small vacuole which consists of what children undigested food particles, so it will move towards the anal pore, and when it reaches to the anal pore, it comes outside, children. It will expels outside. Okay, so expelling of undigested food materials, we are calling it as egestion. So from where this undigested food particles will be moving out, it is by a structure called as anal pore, and we call this anal pore as another name of this anal pore is cytopike, children. Okay, so this is about what nutrition in paramecium, children. It is also very important question. Okay.